in that conflict, in that adversity. The adversity brings out the conflict. And then the conflict gets us up out of our lazy boys and gets us to do something. What is it going to take for us to start following our bliss and finding how our abilities fit in to creating the world we want? We can't leave it up to the master planners. We can't leave it up to them. Mainly because it doesn't have a body, doesn't have a moral foundation, doesn't have a conscious, ethical responsibility to do what's right. It's invisible. That's why they say they. That's why we say they and them instead of trying to identify it like saying aliens. It's just some nature it's some part of human nature that we've been working through. At this point, it gets to hide behind corporations. It gets to hide behind puppet politicians. It gets to hide behind puppet dictators. It gets to hide behind government bureaucracy and departments like Department of Homeland Security. It gets to hide behind regulations and rules that always are put in place with the intent, proposed intent to benefit people, and it always backfires. Name anything, any department set up by the government, our government, any department, name anything that they've done well, anything that could not have been done better if it was left alone for people to do on their own without regulations and inefficiency. Government is ineffective in helping the people. People are effective in helping themselves. And when we realize that, we'll get up off our lazy boys and we'll do something. That's why I'm calling out for this Operation Call Coast to Coast, because there's lots of people out there, millions of people listening to Coast to Coast right now, who are born into this environment, this element just like us, and who want a way out. They want to know what they can do. Maybe some of them are living right nearby Washington, D.C., and it wouldn't be too hard for them to get there. So let's just get on our cell phones and our computer dial-up devices, and let's get these phone numbers. Let's get these phone numbers going when they open lines. Let's call in and give our comment on this guest tonight on Coast to Coast. His name is Marshall Vian Summers. The host is George Noorey, of course. And let's call in and let them know what we're doing. Let's say, give your comment, say, that's why I'm going to Washington, D.C. It's called Revolution March. We're going to be there July 12th, and we're going to be listening to Ron Paul give us all the answers to all these problems. It's really simple. People just got to hear the message. So let's help people get the message. Let's let them hear about Revolution March. We've got a website. Everyone can go to it. So let's just mention it. Let's just mention Revolution March, July 12th, D.C., and Ron Paul. And let's see what happens. The phone numbers to call in. KFI. Oops. The phone numbers to call in: west of the Rockies, 1-800-618-8255. Wild card line, 1-818-501-4109. First time caller line, 1-818-501-4721. And we'll try and catch the east of the Rockies line as well, and international callers, since we do have international listeners here at Revolution Broadcasting.
I saw the correlation
Back
was
to coast
very,
to
very
coast.
strong, and I saw that basically there's 4 questions that we have to deal with regarding the extraterrestrial presence in the world today. What is happening? Why is it happening? What does it mean? And how do we prepare? And I began to see that, we really have to address the second 3 questions. Why is it happening? What does it mean? And how do we prepare? And the process of preparation is very important. And I think that we were talking about knowledge previously. The thing about knowledge is very important because it's the thing that gives us our core strength, both as individuals and as a race of people, as a human family. And if the human family can see that we have to unite, we have to be united in the universe. We cannot be a set of warring factions. We're going to have to unite to restore the planet, and we're going to have to unite at least to a greater degree than we are today to be able to engage with intelligent life in the universe. And this requires, I think, the most important preparation facing us at this time.
Werner von Braun had said a long, long time ago that he believes that there will be a false attack of an extraterrestrial presence and possibility to create war and control. This has been a possibility. I mean, this sounds like it's possible, yet you believe it's real.
Well, indeed, one has to wonder regarding events in the world today. Are you still with me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. One has to wonder regarding events in the world today, how easily it would be for an extraterrestrial presence to trigger another major war. And when you look at the Iraq War, for example, I mean, certainly human beings are capable of doing immensely foolish and unwise things. But the fact that we are driving ourselves into ever greater conflict and depletion in the world can only benefit an extraterrestrial presence and strengthen their position as the future overlords of our world. And I know that sounds very extreme to say that, but when we're dealing with the history of intervention and the reality of intervention, we have to talk in those kinds of terms. The intervention is supporting human conflict in the extent that it's weakening the strongest powers, sending or encouraging the United States to go into Iraq, into an unwinnable, intractable conflict that weakens its allies, weakens its world support, drains it economically, divides its people. I mean, this is a very powerful form of divide and conquer, and we are very susceptible to that kind of persuasion. In the greater community, I mean, if you can influence what people think and believe, and you can do that extremely effectively without them ever knowing you're doing that, then you can control the behavior of others. And this represents a tremendous power of influence in the greater community.
Do these allies of humanity talk about the future? Do they see the future?
They talk about the future of humanity and the decisions that we have to make, whether we're going to unite and face the greater community as a human family, or if we're going to go into a permanent decline. And if we go into a permanent decline, sooner or later we will fall under foreign domination. And so we're facing a critical threshold right at this time in how we're going to regard the great waves of change, how we're going to regard how we function as a family of beings in this world, and how we're going to deal with the reality of contact. Contact now is not happening on our terms. It's happening on the terms of those who are intervening in our world. How are we going to deal with that? There's a very interesting document called the Declaration of Human Sovereignty that was drafted based upon the United States Declaration of Independence. It can be viewed at www.humansovereignty.org. And it begins to lay out, I think in a beginning way, the kinds of rules of engagement that we have to establish regarding all present and future